Welcome to the captivating realm of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss any of our exciting new stories. Enjoy the journey!
Lyra Voss stood at the edge of an alien world, her visor filtering the vibrant hues of the landscape before her. A kaleidoscope of colors unfurled in the bioluminescent foliage, creating an otherworldly glow that danced with the soft breeze. As an exobiologist on a mission to explore uncharted planets, this was a dream come true. The air was thick with unfamiliar scents, intoxicating and rich, a tapestry of life waiting to be understood. Collect samples from the North Quadrant, she instructed her team, her voice crackling through the comms. They moved with purpose, eyes wide with the thrill of discovery. It was supposed to be a week of exploration, gathering data on the planet's unique ecosystems. But Lyra's heart raced for a different reason, an undercurrent of danger whispering in her instincts. The tranquility shattered abruptly. A deep rumble resonated through the ground, vibrating in her bones. Instinct kicked in. "Get back to the ship!" she shouted, urgency lacing her voice. The warning echoed in the air, but it was too late. The Zarkari, notorious alien faction known for their brutality, erupted from the dense foliage like shadows given life. Panic surged among her team as the towering figures surrounded them, their armor glinting menacingly in the dim light. Lyra fought to maintain her composure, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The Zarkari moved with a predatory grace. And despite her training, her heart pounded with fear. She had read the reports, their reputation for violence was legendary. In an instant, she was overwhelmed. Hands grabbed her, pinning her wrists with unyielding force. She struggled against them, her mind racing. "Don't fight. We need to," a teammate's voice cut off in a choke of panic, but the Zarkari had already taken control. Lyra caught a glimpse of her colleagues being dragged away, their cries swallowed by the thick air. Desperation clawed at her chest. As she was dragged deeper into the heart of the Zarkari stronghold, Lyra prepared herself for the worst. Images of torture and despair flooded her mind, tales she had heard whispered among the stars. Yet beneath the fear simmered a flicker of defiance. She would not be broken so easily. The cell was cold and dimly lit, the metallic walls radiating a sense of despair. They threw her inside, and the heavy door clanged shut, reverberating through the silence. Lyra pressed her back against the wall, breathing heavily, each inhale a mix of fear and determination. She could not allow them to win. As the darkness enveloped her, Lyra knew she had to fight, not just for herself but for her team. They would find a way out of this nightmare, and she would discover the truth behind her captors, their motivations, and the power they wielded. This was just the beginning. The metallic door creaked open. A harsh clang reverberating through the stark confines of the cell. Lyra's heart skipped a beat as Zarek entered, his imposing figure silhouetted against the dim light. His armor, dark and angular, reflected a menacing sheen that sent a shiver down her spine. The Zarkari officer was a statue of power and authority, and she could feel his gaze piercing through her, weighing her worth and determining her fate. "Welcome, human," he said, his voice a low, predatory growl that reverberated in the cramped space. "You will tell us everything, how to exploit your kind's weaknesses." Lyra met his gaze, her defiance igniting a flame within her. "You'll find I'm not so easily broken," she replied. Her voice steadied despite the fear thrumming beneath her skin. Zarek's lips curled into a smirk, revealing sharp teeth. "You think your defiance is strength? It is but a fleeting illusion. My people excel in domination, and I assure you, we will extract your secrets one way or another." Lyra clenched her fists, refusing to show any sign of fear. "You think torture will yield results? You underestimate humans. We thrive on resilience." His expression shifted, the amusement fading into something more complex. Curiosity, perhaps. "Resilience? You're a fascinating species, truly. But tell me, what do you know of strength?" "Strength is not merely the ability to inflict pain," she shot back, her voice growing bolder. "It's the capacity to endure, to connect, to create. You wouldn't understand. Zarek tilted his head, intrigued. You presume much, human. You speak of emotions as if they are a weapon. Emotions are our greatest strength, Lyra countered, emboldened by the unexpected shift in their exchange. We find joy in art, connection in love, and purpose in understanding. Those are the ties that bind us, the reasons we fight. He took a step closer, the distance between them narrowing, and Lyra could see the conflict swirling in his dark eyes. You claim superiority through sentimentality. Does your species not know fear? Does it not crumble before true power? We fear losing ourselves to cruelty, but that only makes us stronger, she replied, her heart racing. We strive for connection, for growth. You've built a life on fear, but it's hollow. What do you truly gain from it? For a moment, silence stretched between them, charged with tension. Zarek's brow furrowed, the rigid lines of his face softening as he contemplated her words. Perhaps you are not entirely incorrect, he muttered, almost to himself. Lyra sensed the crack in his armor, the beginning of something new, something dangerous. Could this be her opportunity? Imagine a world where strength lies in unity rather than division, she suggested, her voice dropping to a whisper. A world where you don't have to live in fear of your own kind. Zarek's gaze intensified, and for the first time, she saw a flicker of something unguarded in his eyes, a desire to understand, to escape the confines of his own world. It was a dangerous moment, a pivot where two vastly different lives converged, teetering on the brink of something transformative. Tell me more, he urged, the weight of his authority shifting as curiosity began to replace hostility. The atmosphere crackled with tension as Zarek lingered at the threshold of her cell, the weight of their conversation hanging in the air like a fragile thread. Lyra seized the moment, her mind racing as she attempted to navigate the precarious landscape of this unexpected connection. Strength through unity, she reiterated, her voice steady but urgent. You don't have to rely on fear to maintain control. What if your people could thrive by understanding rather than subjugating? Imagine the alliances you could forge, the knowledge you could gain. Zarek's expression was inscrutable, a mask of stoicism that betrayed little of his thoughts. Your words are bold, but they carry the scent of naivety. Do you truly believe your kind would welcome us? Not if you come in with weapons drawn, she shot back, her tone firm. But if you approach with genuine intent, you might find that we're more open than you think. We are curious creatures, always yearning to learn. He stepped further into the room, the door hissing shut behind him. The dim light cast shadows across his face, revealing a flicker of uncertainty. You would risk your life for the chance to change my people. I'm not risking anything if I believe in the possibility of change, she replied, her voice softening. Every moment spent in fear is a moment wasted. I'm here, and I want to understand you, Zarek. The Zarkari officer studied her, the flickering lights reflecting in his dark eyes, and for a heartbeat, the barriers between their worlds began to dissolve. You speak of understanding, yet you know nothing of the Zarkari struggle. We are forged in blood and fire, we do not know peace. But you could, she urged, desperation creeping into her voice. You could choose a different path. You're not just a product of your culture, Zarek. You have the power to redefine it. He turned away, pacing the small confines of the cell. The tension in his posture hinted at the internal battle raging within him. What would that path look like? He asked, his voice softer now, almost vulnerable. Collaboration. Sharing knowledge, technology, working together toward a common goal, Lyra replied, seizing the opportunity. You could be the architect of a new future, a leader who unites rather than divides. Zarek halted, turning to face her fully, and in that moment, Lyra saw a glimpse of the man beneath the armor, a leader burdened by the weight of expectations. You think I could change everything? It starts with one person, she said, her heart racing. You have the power to inspire your people. Show them that strength isn't just about domination, it's about forging bonds and creating something greater. His gaze was intense, searching hers for sincerity, for the truth behind her words. And if I fail? Failure is part of growth, she reassured him. It's the willingness to learn and adapt that defines true strength. As he stood before her, the lines between captor and captive blurred. For the first time, Lyra sensed the possibility of a profound shift, a collaboration that could transcend their differences. It was a delicate dance. A chance to intertwine their fates in a way neither could have anticipated, but as the shadows deepened, Lyra knew the stakes were higher than ever. Trust was a fragile commodity, and the road ahead would be fraught with peril. Yet in Zarek's eyes, she found a glimmer of hope, a spark that could ignite a revolution, if only they dared to take the first step together. Days passed within the confines of the Zarkari stronghold, and what had begun as a prison transformed into a crucible of ideas. Lyra and Zarek met in the shadows, their clandestine conversations growing bolder as they exchanged knowledge and visions of a world reshaped by cooperation. One evening, as twilight cast a deep blue across the alien landscape, Zarek led Lyra to a hidden chamber beneath the stronghold. The air was cooler here, filled with the scent of damp stone and the faint hum of machinery. As the door slid shut behind them, she felt a surge of anticipation. "Welcome to the heart," Zarek announced, gesturing to the expansive room filled with holographic displays and alien technology. Images flickered to life, maps of their territories, data streams of interstellar communications, and resources ripe for exploration. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. "This is incredible." "Yes, but it has been used only for conquest," he replied, his voice heavy with regret. "Today, I want to show you how we could use it for something far greater." As they delved deeper into the systems, Lyra's mind raced with possibilities. "If we share our agricultural techniques, we could enhance food production on your home planet. And you could teach us about your technology. Imagine the innovations we could create together." Zarek's brow furrowed, a mixture of excitement and apprehension dancing in his eyes. "You speak of revolutionizing our worlds, but such changes would not come without resistance. Many within my ranks would see this as weakness." "Change is always met with resistance," she said, her voice firm. "But if we can demonstrate the benefits, if we can show them the strength that lies in unity, then they might come around. We need to build a coalition, allies who share our vision." Zarek stepped closer, the intensity of his gaze sending a shiver down her spine. "You are willing to risk your life, your reputation, for this alliance?" "Absolutely," she replied without hesitation. "I believe in the potential for good, and I believe in you. You have the power to lead this change." He studied her, searching for any sign of deceit, but found only unwavering determination. "Then we must act swiftly. I will convene a council of my most trusted advisors. If we can convince them, we may have a chance." Lyra nodded, a thrill of hope igniting within her. "I'll prepare my team as well. If we're to succeed, we need everyone on board." As they left the heart, the weight of their mission settled between them, a shared purpose that united two worlds previously at odds. They walked side by side, their steps echoing in the dimly lit corridors, their breaths mingling in the cool air, but the path ahead was fraught with peril. Just as they turned a corner, they were confronted by Kale, Zarek's second-in-command, a figure carved from the same relentless stone as Zarek but with eyes that glinted with suspicion. "What are you doing here, Commander?" Kale's voice was icy, his posture rigid. "Lyra and I are discussing important matters," Zarek replied, his tone even but tense. "Matters of collaboration?" Kale scoffed. "Crossing his arms? Or treason?" Lyra felt her pulse quicken. This was the moment of truth. "We seek a new path for both our peoples," she interjected, stepping forward. "If we unite, we can forge a future that benefits everyone." Kale's eyes narrowed, a storm brewing behind them. "And what makes you think we would trust a human?" "Because trust is the first step toward survival," Zarek said, his voice rising with conviction. "If we do not embrace change, we will remain prisoners of our past." Lyra held her breath, the air thick with tension. This was their chance to bridge the chasm between their worlds. As Kale stared them down, the choice hung in the balance, a moment poised on the edge of destiny. The tension in the air was palpable as Zarek and Kale faced off, their clash of wills a storm brewing in the confines of the stronghold. Lyra stood between them, a bridge over a chasm that threatened to swallow them whole. Kale's eyes flickered with skepticism. "You're blinded by hope, Zarek. You think this human can offer us anything but betrayal?" Lyra took a step forward, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "I understand your distrust, Kale. But think of the possibilities. My people are not your enemies. Together, we can build a new future." Zarek's jaw tightened as he prepared to counter Kale's fierce gaze. "I will not stand by while my people cling to old ways. We cannot afford to be divided any longer. The galaxy is changing, and we must adapt. And what if this alliance fails?" Kale shot back, his voice laced with derision. "What if we fall into a trap set by those who wish to see us destroyed? Then we will learn from it and rise again," Zarek replied, his voice a growl of defiance. "Isn't that what true strength is? The ability to learn, to evolve." Kale's posture remained rigid, but doubt flickered in his eyes. "You're willing to gamble everything on this?" "Yes," Zarek said, his gaze unwavering. "I trust Lyra. I believe she can guide us toward a better way." For a moment, silence enveloped them, the weight of Zarek's declaration hanging in the air. Lyra could see the internal struggle playing out on Kale's face. The tug-of-war between loyalty and the gnawing realization that change might be necessary. "I will not let my people be led to the slaughter by this. This experiment," Kale finally spat, but the edge in his voice was blunted. "Then let us prove ourselves," Lyra interjected, sensing the fragile truce hanging in the balance. "We can demonstrate the benefits of collaboration. Allow me to speak before your council. If they see the potential in this alliance, they may be willing to listen." Kale hesitated, the lines of battle etched into his brow softening ever so slightly. "And if they reject your words? If they see you as a threat? Then we will deal with it together," Zarek asserted, stepping closer to Kale, an unyielding force. "We must be willing to take risks. If we do not try, we will never know." Kale's breath was heavy, his gaze darting between the two of them. Finally, he nodded, albeit reluctantly. "You have one chance, human. Impress the council, or I will personally see to it that you are expelled from our territory." "Deal," Lyra replied, relief washing over her. The first step had been taken, but she knew that a long, treacherous road lay ahead. As they moved deeper into the stronghold, preparing for the council meeting, Lyra felt the weight of expectation on her shoulders. She had one opportunity to sway them, one chance to plant the seeds of change. The council chamber loomed ahead, a vast expanse of dark stone illuminated by pulsating bioluminescent flora that glowed softly in the dimness. As they entered, she could feel the collective gaze of the council members, an assembly of hardened faces, each one a testament to the relentless struggle of the Zarkari people. Lyra's heart raced, the stakes higher than ever. She took a deep breath, readying herself for the challenge ahead. This was not just a battle for her life but for the future of two worlds, entwined by fate and the fragile thread of hope. As the doors sealed behind them, the weight of history bore down upon her. In this moment, she was not just a captive, she was a catalyst. A beacon in the gathering storm. And as the council prepared to hear her plea, she knew that the tides of destiny were about to shift, one way or another. The council chamber was a vast, shadowy expanse, the air thick with tension as Lyra stood at its center. Towering statues of Zarkari warriors lined the walls, their fierce expressions watching over the gathering like ancient sentinels. Members of the council sat at a circular table, their eyes narrowing as she stepped into the light. Each face was a study of skepticism, curiosity, and veiled hostility, and Lyra felt the weight of their collective judgment bearing down upon her. Zarek took his place beside her, a reassuring presence in the storm of uncertainty. "Esteemed council members," he began, his voice resonant, commanding attention. "Today, we stand on the precipice of change. We have the opportunity to forge an alliance that can reshape our futures. Lyra sensed the murmurs ripple through the assembly, a mix of skepticism and intrigue. She stepped forward, drawing on the courage that had brought her this far. I am Lyra Stanton, a representative of Earth. I come not as an enemy, but as an ally. Together, we can build something remarkable. An elder council member, his skin a deep shade of obsidian, leaned forward, skepticism etched into his features. And why should we trust you, human? Your kind has a history of deceit and destruction. Because we've learned from our mistakes, Lyra replied, her voice steady. We are not the same as those who came before us. We understand the value of cooperation, of sharing knowledge and resources for the greater good. The council exchanged glances, and she pressed on, her heart pounding in her chest. Imagine combining our technologies, your advanced systems with our agricultural innovations. We can overcome the challenges that threaten both our peoples, famine, war, and extinction. Another council member, a woman with striking turquoise skin and eyes that gleamed like stars, spoke up. And what makes you think our people will not see you as a threat? An encroachment? Because I want to show you that unity is our greatest strength, Lyra asserted. In this galaxy, we are all facing external threats. The Ketheri Imperium looms on the horizon, a force that seeks to conquer rather than cooperate. Alone, we are vulnerable, together, we are formidable. A low rumble of agreement surged through the council, and Zarek seized the moment. This is not just about our survival. It is about evolving beyond our past grievances. We have the chance to redefine who we are, to stand together against any force that would seek to destroy us. Lyra felt a spark of hope ignite within her. Let us be the change that inspires others. We can set an example, demonstrating that even the most unlikely of allies can become the strongest of forces. The elder council member, his brow furrowed, scrutinized her. What assurance do we have that this alliance will not weaken us? That it will not lead to our downfall? Lyra took a deep breath, willing the conviction in her heart to shine through. You have my word, and the honor of my people. We seek not dominance, but partnership. An alliance where both our strengths are amplified. As she spoke, the flickering lights above cast a warm glow on the council members' faces, revealing cracks in their defenses. They were not so different from her own people, facing their fears and uncertainties. After a long silence, the council's leader raised a hand, the gesture demanding attention. You speak of honor and partnership, Lyra. But such bonds are forged in trust, and trust is earned. We will not decide today, but we will allow you to prove your intentions. A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber, and Lyra's heart surged with hope. This was her chance, a fragile thread woven into the fabric of fate. Tomorrow, the leader continued, you will demonstrate your agricultural techniques. Show us the fruits of your labor. If we are convinced, we may entertain this alliance. Lyra nodded, a sense of purpose igniting within her. Thank you. I promise you will not be disappointed. As the council meeting drew to a close, she and Zarek stepped outside, the cool air brushing against their skin. This is it, Zarek said, his eyes sparkling with determination. We have a chance to change everything. Lyra felt the thrill of possibility course through her veins. But in the back of her mind, the weight of Kale's skepticism lingered, a reminder that the path ahead was fraught with challenges. Together, they were not just fighting for their survival, they were fighting for the future of their worlds. And as night descended upon the stronghold, the stars above glimmered with the promise of new beginnings.